Swami Kapahi has been in the enviable position of meeting such a learned sage like Swami Chinmayananda. On this week's interview, Mr. Anand Atal talks to Mrs. Kapahi about some of her fondest memories regarding Swami Chinmayananda and some of his life's teachings. It's a touching interview which I hope you'll enjoy.
Mrs. Kapahi, I'd like to welcome you particularly in the Aaradhna program, and Mrs. Rani Kapahi, I have known you for decades almost. I have known you as a wife, as a friend's wife, mother, as a tireless volunteer worker in the temple, and as someone at whose house Swami Chinmayananda, the famous, world famous, such a sage stayed with you. So I'd like to welcome you, and I'd like to start the interview by asking you to tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
I think you already told about me, and I'm just a Hindu, and I believe in Sanatana Dharma, and I am a Shishya of Swami Chinmayananda.
Mrs. Kapahi, Swami Chinmayananda always stayed with you, and as far as my memory serves me. So you probably know him in a very special way. Can you tell us a bit about Swamiji as a person?
Yes. So I will tell you how I met Swamiji.
Mm-hmm.
And see Swami, first time I met Swamiji in 72, and it's saying that if you are ready, the God will send you the Guru. Mm-hmm. And I think it's true. In 72, Swamiji came first time in Vancouver, and that time Dr. Meera Menon, she invited Swamiji to give talk on Hinduism in Simon Fraser University. But by chance, that time she has to go to New York for some special meeting. Then she phoned Vishwa Hindu Parishad to go and receive Swamiji, and he is going to stay with Council's house. And my husband, he is quite involved in VHP. He was supposed to go and pick to receive him and ask him if so. And at that time, that was a hard time for me because I lost my sister 1 week ago in India. So I thought if some saint is coming in that town, it will be good if he can stay with me. So I asked the person, wife where he was going to stay, I requested her, is it okay that Swamiji can stay with me? Mm-hmm. She can, sure, you can have it. And my husband went to the airport, and that was a lucky day he brought home, and from that very day, he is my Guru and I am his Shishya.
So here you are, almost new, a few years in this town,
yeah.
And Swamiji comes along, and by some strange coincidence,
yeah.
both of you meet,
mm-hmm.
and he comes and stays at your house?
Yeah. This is a gift of God.
So what was it like to host him year after year?
You see, it was very simple. He was a very simple man, and I thought he was just a family member, just having another family member with me.
So what kind of routine he had? Did he do puja in the morning? What time would he get up?
Oh, he used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and take his shower. Then he would do some sadhana, and then he reply all his letters. He used to receive lot of letters, and every letter he will reply by himself and even write the address.
And this is by himself, without secretary,
no,
every morning?
Every morning, and all the letters. Then there will be some lecture where he was going for that, and then in the afternoon there was somebody is inviting him for bhiksha, and there he goes and talk about the subject, and in the afternoon he liked to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the evening have another satsang. And that was known as he used to give lectures on Gita, and the 7 days, mostly it is known as the Gita Gyan Yajna. Mm-hmm. And he was a scholar, and he wrote so many books, and also commentary on Gita, Bhagavad Gita, and Chodamani, and few other Upanishads. And he used to talk on some for 7 days on Gita, and and explain in 7 days one chapter thoroughly. And in the end, it was his advice to read 2 shloka with the commentary every day. And when the chapter is over, start again. Do it for a year.
So you were constant presence in most of his talks in the evening.
Yeah.
So you heard all these lectures. Now, when he will come back in the evening home, tired, and how did you arrange for his food and rest of it?
No, you see, at the time, it was a simple food, whatever we make, we will eat it together. And the main thing was that in the end, he gave us advice that read this Gita chapter for years, because first we have to listen, then we have to reflect, and then we have to do those things in practice.
Contemplate, probably think about it. Yeah?
Think about what we are doing. So only listening is not enough. We have to listen, then we have to think about what we have listened and try to bring those values in our life and change ourselves, and then we will become a better person.
I'll come back to that aspect, because you probably took in a lot of his discourses and satsangs, but over the years he probably got to know you and your family and your children very well.
Yeah.
How did it have an impact on your family?
You see, it was, my eldest son was gone at that time, but 2 children were home at that time, and he's very fond of children, and when the children are teenage, you have a lot of stress and strain, especially coming to the new country, and children want to go for dates and so on, and it bothers you. And I talked to him, and he gave me advice. He told me, the children come through you. You don't own the children. Everybody has come this world to curve his own destiny, and nobody can help.
That's a beautiful statement.
Yeah.
So he's telling you, Swamiji.
Yeah, and then he said that you have to teach them a good value, and leave the rest on the God.
That's a beautiful advice. That's a very liberating kind of advice for you as well as for children.
Yeah.
So he had an impact in the way you raised your family.
Family, yes, it is.
Is it possible that he also had all these satsangs you attended? They, over the year, they changed you in personal way, in the way you relate to other people, Mrs. Kapahi?
It's hard to say, but it makes a lot of difference. When you heard those good things and good values, it leaves little impression on you. And if you think on those ones, then you will try to improve yourself. I tried. I am not a perfect person.
Well, nobody is.
But still, I remember her teaching, and try to remember those ones. When the time comes, I try to reflect on them.
What kind of things which affected you most, like listening through all these Gita things, and so you must be almost a scholar of Gita.
No, I'm not a scholar, but still, you see, you have to think that do the best and leave rest to him. And you see, it's whatever is there, it's going to happen. Yeah. And thus Vedanta cannot solve the problem, but it can dissolve the problem. Then you have a vision that you can, the things happen, and you still think that that's a will of God, that's a prasad from the God, it's going to happen. So then you have little more courage to face the world.
That's very true, because when we are young, especially as a couple, to socialize, we get restless sometimes, and this message which you are saying, it must have a calming effect on you.
Yeah.
Is it possible that Swamiji, when he stayed with you, he also had a lot of people come in to visit him, and
Sure.
how did you look after so many people?
No, it was, you see, people comes and visit Swamiji, and then that's okay for me. You see, what you are receiving is much more than what you are giving.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is my prayer, and it's a grace of God that he was coming. And still, few Swamis, the Chinmaya missions, they come and stay midway. And I am always looking forward when they are coming.
And of course, Mrs. Kapahi, you have had a tremendous influence on the activities of Chinmaya Mission in Vancouver, and now the other Swamis also come to your place. So what do you miss most about Swamiji now, now that he is no more?
Yeah, you see, that's a different relation between Guru and Shish. Still, I miss him, but still we are lucky that he has given, taught so many other people, and they are, have knowledge, and still we can listen to them and be benefited by those lectures too.
Mrs. Kapahi, one more thing. I remember always you will phone us about coming to the lectures, and you were involved in so many logistical details about setting up lunch meetings and people's houses. Do you notice any difference in the way things were, say, 20 years ago and now when you approach people? Have we changed as a community?
See, it depends upon the person to person. See, some people really are looking forward, and before coming, they will phone, oh, he's coming, we would like to have them. Mm-hmm. And some people who are listening for, they are carefree.
Yeah. So that hasn't changed very much. I thought maybe now more people, husband and wife, both work, so maybe it makes a difference because at the end of the day they are tired.
So many other people who are helping me when Swami comes. They come and they help me a lot because I am getting old. I cannot handle all the things, but they are always there to help me. There are so many devotees who come and help me, and that's the way it is easy for me to host them.
Well, do you see that as a community we have become more stressed out, therefore we look for the message of Vedanta a bit more now than we did, say, 20-25 years ago?
You see, it's always, communities always changing, new people are coming, old people are still there. But Vedanta teaches us that we have come to this world to, we have lots of vasana and thoughts, and we have come here to play our roles, which has given to us by God. And we have to play our role as best as we can.
And this is something you have learned from Swamiji directly, of course. Of course, this is the fundamental message of Vedanta. So, Mrs. Kapahi, I really want to thank you for coming and sharing some of your thoughts. Is there any one last thing you want to leave with the listeners about Swamiji, which very few other people might know?
Swamiji. You see, he was a dynamic person and very punctual. Very punctual. So, even, and he was above the body. Everybody says Vedanta teaches us that you are not the body, but go above the body. But actually, he was above the body. And that's an instant when once we are having a Hinduish conference here, and he was supposed to come and open for the opening of the conference.
Yeah, I remember that,
And he came from the Chicago and reached here around 4 o'clock. And when we came home, it was almost 5:30. He took a shower and a cup of tea, and he was ready to go to the conference. And we came back around 10:30, and so people were there to visit him.
Waiting for him.
Waiting for him. He went to bed around 12. I asked Swamiji, and next day morning he was leaving for France The next day he has to open another yajna, as a Gyan yajna in France. So I said, Swamiji, what time will you be getting up? He said, oh, around 3:30. And 3:30 I came in the living room, Swamiji had his shower, and he was there.
So he was a man, that's what you mean by living beyond his body's needs were not as important.
Important.
Yeah,
And once when we were in camp, he had a heart attack in the morning. And at that time, they didn't told, they said, oh, Swamiji is later not feeling well, so other Swami is going to give it, taking some lectures. And the evening he was there.
So he was fine?
No, he was, the doctor told me, you can say, no, I have to go and give the lecture.
So here sounds like a man of very strong willpower.
Very strong willpower. And even up to last minute, he was a heart patient, very weak. But once my husband asked him, Swamiji, why don't you stay at Siddhbadi and everybody should, we will come and visit you there. He said, no, as far as my mind is working, this body is nashwan, this is like a horse. We have to get work out of it.
Very noble thought, very appropriate thought from such a high.
Yeah.
But isn't it that toward the end, he had some inclination that he was not going to be there very long?
Oh yes, he was even about 15 days before his death. And he wrote us a letter. He told us that next year I am not coming to Vancouver due to my bad health.
So he had some idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even when he was in the last time, he was in the hospital. At that time, there is a big conference in the Washington. And before 1 year, they asked Swamiji to be a chairperson for that. Swamiji said, my health is not good, why don't you make another person? They said, no, you have to be. And he said, oh, if you say yes, but I might be in the hospital at that time. And I was sure that when the conference was there, he was in the hospital, and after 2-3 days he was gone.
So he had some idea. And you probably have that letter, very last letter from him?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I really appreciate Mrs. Kapahi for you coming, sharing all these thoughts, and thank you very much for sharing all of them from
You
this.
are most welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.